Mr. Gigaba, you are at the center of Gupta naturalization, granting them of passports and ID numbers. But before we go there, let's start with you. There are allegations that you are not, your citizenship is questionable. So can you respond to this question? Where were you born and where was your father born?
Honorable Member, I find your question quite peculiar, extremely peculiar, offensive to my family, offensive to my father who is late, offensive to my mother, offensive to my father who was born at Ngabeni, Mbonela, where my clan has lived for hundreds of years, where if you go now, you will find members of my clan living on the lands that the fathers of our fathers have lived, lands which they left us, our home where the spirits of my grandfathers still live. It's an offense to my mother who was born as Ngolweni among the Dlaminis, where the families of her parents have lived for centuries. It's an offense to all of us. It's an offense to my identity. Now, having said all of that, because I think it behoves all of us as honorable members not to attack each other's identities for political point scoring and for cheap gain. If I attack your identity, you would be as offended as I am. So if you want to know my identity, I invite you to go to Ngabeni, Mbonela, and speak to members of my family. They will tell you who I am. You don't even have to be told by me. They will tell you who I am. They will tell you why my name is Nkanyezi and where does it come from. Who is Nkanyezi among my family members? Having said all of that, I'm sure you will respect my right to respond to you as you asked your question. Having said all of that, you then, and I know what you are trying to do is to irritate me, and you will not succeed. The naturalization of the the naturalization of
I'm still going to that one. I just wanted to deal with where you were born and where your father was born. I'm going to the Guptas. I'm not there, so don't rush. Don't rush. So I'm still going to ask that question.
Honorable Dlamini.
No, but my question was very simple, Chairperson. I said, where was he born? Where was his father born? I have not asked about the Gupta, so you must not go there. Relax, we're still going there.
No, I think it arises from the comment you raised earlier on, although it was not a question. If you say it wasn't a question, but you made a comment that related to that.
Yeah, then you must respond to questions. That's why I said my question to you. I was very clear.
But if the witness feels that the comment needs a reply, I don't think we should prevent them from...
No problem. Let him reply to comments.
Yeah. Minister, the witness can go ahead.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Now, having raised the issue of the Gupta citizenship, I will deal with it in the comprehensive detail, because the honorable member makes an inaccurate assertion that I'm at the center of the naturalization of the Gupta family members. There are 62 Gupta people in South Africa with the Gupta family. Of those 62 people, there are 39 who hold permanent residence permits. There are 13 who hold naturalization, 9 of whom were naturalized between 2002 and 2006, and only 4 who were naturalized in 2015, and there are 10 children that were born in South Africa. So, of those 9 that were naturalized between 2002 and 2006, when I was not Minister of Home Affairs, surely the honorable member would be well advised that that being the majority, including those who got permanent residence permits prior to my appointment as Minister of Home Affairs, that doesn't place me at the center of the naturalization of the Gupta family members. That's one. Number 2, the honorable member, the 4 that were naturalized in 2015, there were valid reasons why the department advised that we should do so. And the letter of the law was followed to the full extent, including at the end of the process, they being asked to renounce Indian citizenship, and one of the 5 applicants in 2015 refusing to renounce Indian citizenship, and therefore he remains not a South African. The 4 that were naturalized complied upon appeal. They had started applying for South African citizenship in 2013 when I was not Minister of Home Affairs. Their application was rejected in 2014. They appealed in 2015, and the department established a panel, as the Director General has indicated, in terms of which their citizenship application was then approved. If there was a malicious intent to grant them South African citizenship, regardless of what South African law stipulated, they would not have been asked at the end of the process to state, to renounce Indian citizenship, and upon one member refusing to renounce it and was not granted South African citizenship and is not a South African citizen as we speak today, that member would have gone on to be granted South African citizenship regardless of what the law says. But that is not the case. It was not the case, which means that we followed the letter of the law to its full extent and did nothing outside it. The honorable member then says we granted them South African passports, and I'm sure he is referring to a passport which was circulating on social media relating to 2015. The said member, the said person to whom the honorable member is referring, was granted his first passport. Now, a passport is a document you get. Now, there are 2 conditions to a passport.
Minister.
Yeah. No. I want the minister is saying I'm referring to a member. You can just say the name of that person that I'm referring to.
Okay.
The person that the honorable member is referring to, I was still explaining a passport. A passport can expire after 10 years, or once its pages get full, you then have to change it. So a person, if you look at my passport, which was issued in 2017 when I became, let's take my official passport, my diplomatic passport, which was issued in 2017 when I became Minister of Finance, it will not be the first diplomatic passport I have held in my life. The first diplomatic passport issued to me was issued in 2004 when I became Deputy Minister of Home Affairs. When I became Minister of Public Enterprises, I was issued with a new diplomatic passport, and so on and so on. So the person that the honorable member is referring to was issued his first passport in 2012 when I was not Minister of Home Affairs. So it was not the first time